Alright, let's get this all tested out. Alright, let's get this all tested out. I think we're good. Fantastic stuff. It's getting easier and easier. The Biff chat is being a pain and a bit of a difficult one to be able to put on my vertical monitor. Other than that, we're all good. Right then, while we wait for a few people to turn up, start smashing out some purge and get myself some weapon cores, because I've got to do that a little bit more now. I've managed to core out a few weapons and ran out a little bit dry on green cores especially. So let's have a little bit of fun. Let's start getting ourselves some cores together. Ah, it's this level. I'm going to hyper focus on this one. I'll go back and change that in a sec. Not that it's a big problem, it's still. It's principle. That's my latest build video. Swords. Virgil Sunspotter, hello, how's it going? Thank you so much for stopping by. How's the day been treating you? Have you started your perforator grind just yet? Yeah, I hope those tips for grinding out perforator will actually help you out. It's a pretty solid gun. There we go. Right, we'll go back because I do want my hyper focus. I'm very particular. It seems I've took it off. Not yet, still stuck on firing calls from Malevolent, just need one fire rate call. Ah, fair enough then. Take that off. I mean, I'll be around on Saturday, So if you still need cores by then, just let me know. I'm more than happy to hop on in and just be able to grind out a few of those level 10 cores for you. I mean, to be fair, I managed to see, well, after the last time we played with the 4-person lobby, and the 2 VSs were absolutely just like smashing it. So I'd like to think that we're all good from that kind of perspective. Just realised my video is probably a little bit too zoomed in. Let's zoom it out a little. There we go. Realise I'm trying to strain my head just to be able to keep myself in the. Oops. Try and keep myself in the video. Oh, so interesting. Teach me for not paying attention. No, it's pop stuff. It's gotta take my eyes off the chat for 1 second and all of a sudden 1 second, I shall be with all of you in a second. Not do anything? No, it doesn't do anything. Alright, fine, you can have that. My health bar is just gone. There we go. Oh no, that's a bad idea. That's a bad idea. It's gonna kill me. Yeah, it is. It's fine, got them for. Another gamer, hi. Welcome to the stream. How's it going? How's your week treating you? Which sender are we touching today? So today we're actually going to do a little bit more Nell. The reason why I want to do more weapon Nell is one, to be able to get the weapon testing all the way out of the way. Managed to get that all fully done. Just be able to try a few more of the weapons of the arsenal and all that kind of thing. And unfortunately, that does mean I need to be able to get a few more weapon cores to be able to start coring all the guns up and everything like that. So I ran out of green cores. That's why we're currently doing some Void Purge, just to be able to get a few quick runs out of the way, get that all smashed out. Also a race stream at this time. You're spoiling us at this point. Well, I must admit, after the first one, I was a little bit hesitant. Because I've not done like a stream just by myself in this kind of case or anything like that for the channel. After like the welcome and everything like that, you know, you've all inspired me to keep doing a few more. I just thought, you know what, I've got a few hours, why not? Let's do a little bit of a stream. Let's have a little bit of fun, shall we? And rather than me just grinding a few hours just on the game, I might as well just do it with some make a chat available and speak to a few people just in case they turn up and all that. So that's the plan. It's a lot more fun grinding. Actually get to speak to the community.
Benz Zero said, Dan, get your ass back here, you gay Nazi.
Might have to turn that off. I hope that hasn't actually come through on the screen. No, you shouldn't do. That's fine. So I just had a text-to-speech in another server just randomly come through. No, I believe the only input is my microphone, if I remember right. So I think we're fine. Let's get this one out of the way, and then I can fully reply back to chat. So it should only be what, 30 seconds. More? Enough? No. Yeah, it still doesn't do anything. I know that from last run. Still tried it. There's the gun passive. That's not what I wanted. Okay. Nope. There we go. Good stuff. Let's go back to Albion. We can mess about. Let's have a look through the chat and everything like that. Which gun is that? The gun that was currently being used is the Kingsguard Lance. So that is the still a beam rifle, but it allows you to be able to put down mini turrets that are able to do little beams to every single enemy that's in its radius. So it's not limited to how many, like 5 or something like that. It can just hit every single enemy as long as it's in the radius, which is kind of nutty. If you haven't got one of these, I would highly recommend it for crit-based Descendants, because it is fantastic at being able to trigger hyperfocus. So if you'd seen like my latest VSA guide, which is the build that I'm currently running, you'll understand why this is so important and integral to that build. And it's just fantastic at being able to do it. But yeah, essentially, it does decent amount of damage, to be fair. But we've recently discovered that if you go into fire rate with it, which I need to be able to get another gold roll on, does insane amounts of damage. And you can see the fire rate cap that it's currently hitting at the moment, and that's not even maxed. So, yeah. Truly Deadly Arson is not a bad gun, to be fair. But I think it's a little bit more niche. I think it's more usable for... I think it's more better for Lepic than it is for Blair, just purely for the fact that you can suck every single person into a certain area. You can fire a single line straight through. You can pierce through every single one of those, and then you hit them with a grenade, and it just bursts them. They just explode. It's a fantastic fun to be able to have. When I tell you I struggle with gun builds, I try replicating with one, end up with a mid build. I don't know. Which gun are you trying to? Or is it more the gun builds just in general, or is it more specifically one gun that you're just kind of struggling for? Because I could probably either advertise some or speak about a little bit of advice for that and all that kind of thing. Rambo's popped in. Hey Rambo, how's it going? How's your week going? How's everything treating you? Thank you all so much for stopping by. Do appreciate it. Right, so what kind of cores are we currently cooking with? Vulture's not a terrible gun. Exterminator I'm already happy with. I don't need to do any more with that. I was messing about with Frostwatcher, but that was more for a Haley gun build, so that's not going to be for this. Pretty happy with that. Part of me thinks Wave of Light's probably not too bad. Maybe take off the fire attack core and go into a fire rate thing to be able to get more bullets out in that first 2 seconds with the crit damage and everything like that. Maybe. That could be something fun to mess about with. Enduring Legacy. I was trying something out with that to be able to go for like chill and go with the Polar Knight set. But I found out that it's not really going to work out the way I was expecting it to, which is a bit of a shame. And everything else is everything else. Yeah. Let's see what other weapons we got in the stash. Maybe I'm missing something. Good thanks as well. How about yourself? Yeah, I can't complain so far with this week. It's just bog standard stuff. Just trying to get the... Well, I can't have this stream going for too long because I do want to be able to try and work on that frame of video. Try and get it out. I'm about halfway through the script as it currently stands. I was going to just do one build, but in actual fact I've pushed it to 2. One for regular Freyna, one for Ultimate Freyna, because I went back and forth between the 2 ideas as to which one I wanted to recommend, and I think both have got some kind of merit. They're definitely usable and all that kind of thing, so... I'm thinking if I say this is a Freyna build video, and then whether you've got regular Freyna or you've got Ultimate Freyna, you can then choose between the 2, so you can just kind of mix and match. That's the idea anyway. I've never really bothered with Clairvoyance. Just... I do not really care for you. So we're trying to get a Ricochet build going. To do a Ricochet build, we need to apply all of our weak point stuff. That means something needs to have a good weak point multiplier. I had Freyna and spawned in. Oh, that guy's side. Well, you timed that perfectly, didn't you? How's everything on your side? Nice, I'm always happy to watch a good Freyna build. Oh, I'll tell you what, let's, because I am currently teasing the build. So, I'm currently doing the build video. I'm going to be discussing both of these builds. I noticed that a few other content creators have done their own kind of videos, and they've all got their merits to them and everything like that. I'm offering a different kind of spin. Freyna has been one of the main characters I've played for the best part of a year now. I feel like I've got a very good grasp as to what makes up a good Freyna build and all that kind of thing to be able to offer some kind of insight. Dangerous Ambush is a fantastic mod to be able to rock. Going for Decimator, fantastic mod to be able to rock. In this case, just the basic Freyna build, I would recommend multi-talented. What we found out on a previous stream is that if you go for multi-talented, you can get you can hit cooldown cap. If you can hit cooldown cap in Axiom Planes, one of the strongest things that you have in your kit to be able to deal with damage, especially the elites at the end, is going to be Venom Baptism. Being able to have this on an 11-second cooldown is fantastic. It allows you to be able to deal with the special elites that drop in, which obviously you want to be able to break their armor and things like that, so you've got that to be able to contend with. So Venom Baptism will be able to absolutely burst those down. You've then got, you've got the 2 phases for all the elites that exist at the end. You can absolutely use this to be able to burst down one phase. While you're waiting for this to come back off cooldown for 11 seconds, you can spam your other 2 abilities. You've got a little bit of support going with Toxic Stimulation. It doesn't change the ability too much. All it does is it allows it to be able to activate on other teammates and everything like that, so you're already a good teammate just for being able to have that going as well. And this is the most amount of damage that you can crank out of that kind of build. So yeah, this is one I recommend. I personally think being able to get your multi-talented back twice within the time frame of other builds is better than just going for a little bit more damage through things like Decimator or going through Dangerous Ambush. So you have more damage output by going through this one than you would do for those ones. Could I switch to red mod for Contagion, or maybe no red mod? You absolutely can go for no red mod. That's the only one I would probably suggest. The reason why is because if you go for any of the other red mods, so if I take this off, Contagion is going to take away your damage mult. So as you can see on skill 1, we have the original projectile, Toxic Puddle, Room Zero Trauma, and Panic. That's all of your extra damage and everything like that. Makes it a very juicy and very potent ability. If you put on Contagion, you'll notice that this now changes it to just a projectile, Toxic Puddle, and Room Zero Trauma. So you are losing out on a damage multiplier right there, and that is going to be the exact same across the whole board. So for example, you would have had Nightmare on your skill 4. Instead, you're just getting Room Zero Trauma, so you're once again missing out on the damage mult. So Contagion is a good mod, but I wouldn't recommend it for Axion. I think Contagion is absolutely fine for 400% and under, but if you are looking to be able to push those kind of like damage numbers and to be able to go into like Axion, some of the harder content and everything like that, Contagion's just not going to cut it, because as you can see, Nightmare has now popped back. If you go into any kind of damage mult, so like skill power modifier or anything like that, so in this case, the easiest way to show this is on like Focus. Wow, Fast Colossus probably does the best, because we have skill power modifier here, and this will actually show on the item card. If you have a check, you'll see that we've got green numbers across the whole board. So that means that that extra 96.1% is going into your actual damage of your gun, it's going into the Room Zero Trauma as well, and then it's also going into Nightmare. And if you start obviously taking away some of those mults with Contagion, it's not going to be the best place to be able to go for that and all that kind of thing. So yeah, that's the reason why we suggest for Axion specifically, and I mean also for Purge as well. You don't, but I mean, how many people have you actually seen run Freyna inside a Purge? But inside a Purge, you wouldn't want to be able to do this. So anything that's 400% and under, you can absolutely get away with Contagion. Anything that's above that, so obviously Axion in terms of Purge and everything like that, you do not want to be able to use Contagion. It just hinders your damage so much. So this is where this just kind of like steps in. Venom Synthesis is normally the other one that normally gets thrown around, but inside of Axion, I prefer being able to throw my ability to be able to benefit from all the extra range. I do like this inside of 400% because you can rely on your skill 1 to be able to do damage. But if you put that on, obviously you're now just leaving footprints, and that relies you to be able to actually go and spread that out yourself and actually running into enemies and everything like that. It does work on the bike. You can absolutely activate this ability, get on your bike, and then just spread the poison everywhere you want to and all that kind of thing, but then that just makes you a little bit more passive. It's a bit of an awkward one. The extra movement speed, you might as well just not benefit from it at that point anyway, so we don't take that one either. Neurotoxin Synthesis has always been a pretty bad mod after Freyna got reworked. Now it's just a case of... Where is the extra bit? It's there, isn't it? Yeah, so when Room Zero Trauma's on something, they just do less damage to yourself and they heal less, which is, you know, neither here or there, I suppose, really, when you think about it. So there's not really anything that's going to be helping you out too much there. And then Toxic Mixture has always been pretty bad, I would say. It's never really been considered a good mod. And then Venom Injection is going to be part of this build that I'm going to be suggesting anyway. So Toxic Stimulation just basically just changes it to an AoE, just helps your teammates out. That's it. If you've got the space, go for it. If you don't have the space, just take it off. So that's about it, really. Remember when Neurotoxin was Freyna's top boss? Yes, exactly. So, but yeah, obviously, well, back in the old days, back when we didn't have all these extra damage mults and everything like that. Yeah, but Neurotoxin used to be the best way to be able to go, and ever since the rework, it's gone from top tier to bottom tier pretty much. You don't really care too much about that extra damage or the extra attack that you've got to worry about or anything like that. So it's a shame, fall from grace. So it is what it is. So yeah, so these are going to be the two builds that I would recommend. If you've got regular Freyna, it's going to be this one. I might even just... call it Reg Frey. And then DPS mobbing takes it to a different side of things. So inside of Axion, you're going to be facing enemies that have a higher HP pool, or are going to have higher resistances because they're level 190 and everything like that. So the idea with this build is that you're going to be using Venom Injection to be able to apply resistance shreds, extra skill power modifier. You're going to have a little bit of regen with your shield as well, so that's quite nice. So you have a little bit of staying power. So yeah, so you're doing extra damage across every single one of your skills. You're also going to be shredding resistance off them at the exact same time. And we're going to be going a little bit further with that as well, because we are also going in the arcade tuning. We're going to use defense neutralization to shred another 30%. So we're already down to 55% shred. And then if you also fire your guns at any kind of point, you're then going to be shredding even more attribute resistance by going this way. So the idea with this is to be able to just take away all their defense. Just take it all away. You will see higher damage numbers with this build compared to the other one. But, you know, this one's kind of, you know, if you have Ultimate Freyna, if you like that kind of playstyle, go for this one. Otherwise, both still absolutely work. It's just a case of which one you kind of like prefer. So the more options, the better, really, for players and everything like that. So Hunter, how hope you doing? I'm doing fantastically so far this week. Thank you so much. How's everything your side? Thank you so much for stopping by. Now, I will say, don't get your hopes up too much. I'm not going to say that Freyna is as good as Inez. She absolutely does struggle a little bit compared to Inez. But if you use the right kind of like strategy, the right kind of movement and everything like that, she's absolutely fine. It just takes her a little bit longer to be able to actually kind of like get it done. Doing okay, just grinding days, waiting for your Freyna build. Well, I mean, you've tuned in at the right time. I was actually going to work on Nell, but I'll tell you what, I'll do like a couple runs. Messing about with Freyna as it currently stands. Show what we're currently working with, set your expectations, and then the build video I'm hoping to get out in a few hours if I get lucky. But that's the plan. So maybe we can even use this as getting a little bit of footage or something like that, shall we? So if we head over to Axiom Plains, best way to be able to show the full extent is, because I can't believe it's took me until today to realise that I can actually set Axiom Plains to private. Can't believe that's genuinely been the case. Admit to things on stream, shall I? So we're not going to rely on teammates. It should still be around about the same kind of HP from what I've seen from my testing and everything like that. So we shouldn't have to worry about that side. So we're currently in private. We won't have anyone joining with us. One of the best missions. I like running this one. I think this is probably going to be a good one to be able to go for a shout. So let's just double check what build we've got for. So let's go for the DPS one first. Talk about the shred. Talk about why we have everything that we do have here. One of the main drawbacks to going for this build, though, is because we have to take an extra mod for Overwhelming Shield. Otherwise, we're extremely glass cannon. We're not going to be hitting range cap. We do still have plenty of range, don't get me wrong, but it's just not, so it's not reaching the extremities like some of the other builds and everything like that, which is a bit of a shame. But we had to sacrifice something somewhere. But MP Collector is just almost necessary for this build to be able to function. So, so let's just get an idea of what we're talking about. Remember on release when I struggled so much with Colossus, man, tough times, but now it's easy. I completely agree with you. God, I remember the days where I was like, God, I hate Molten Fortress, I didn't activate the... Do you know what? I was too busy paying attention to the chat. I didn't even activate the mission. I was just about to run through and go, where's all the enemies? But yeah, no, I just said, yeah, when I got to Molten Fortress, and I was like, oh god, what am I going to have to do here? And Gluttony especially. Gluttony in the early days, genuinely, before I was like min-max and stuff like that, genuinely made me just put like the fear of God in me. And I just was like, I don't even know if I want to try and take this guy on. Yeah. So when you're in this kind of room, like I said, it's going to take you a little bit more time just to be able to get through everything. But the suck on Power Beyond is also really, really nice. But you just kind of want to run around the room, just coat the floor and everything. The enemies will do their own stuff to it, don't worry. There we go. Burst this all down. You don't have to think too much about it, because you don't have multi-talented to worry about. In this room, just spam this bit of the middle bit of the floor. The toe will just bring them all into the centre at some point. Yeah, there we go. They'll all just run into the middle. So this bit's still absolutely fine. You know, Freynas can still get a lot of work done. You know, we're doing a lot of damage, you know, really, when you think about it. And because we're shredding through the resistance, we don't have to worry about that eye too much. We can actually just get away with just leaving it to do its own business. And so that's why I like this kind of build as opposed to like Decimator or anything like that. So we're all good now. Right, it's this bit that tends to get a little bit hairy, so we can make sure you have your Venom Injection on. Once again, spam all the floor. Exact same stuff that we've just been doing. Just keep that going. Just keep all the green stuff on the floor. Because we've got MP Collector, we can just go a little bit crazy. This one we need to get it out of the shield. Once it's out of the shield, it will eventually start following you. There we go. Once it's out, activate your fort. There, you can start bursting this down. There you go. So we're all good here. Once again, just cast it all on the floor. Give it a little bit more shred. And then we run out in terms of duration on that, and that's why we then start to fall on last dagger spam. And there we go. And that's the general kind of gist of this kind of build. This is why I want to enjoy this one more than anything else. But that's because Venom Injection just does so much for this. And yeah, like I said, you don't see too many Freynas inside of Axiom, but I think if we actually run something like this, probably be fine. MP Collector's probably going to be the only thing that you might need to swap if you are going to do it into co-op, because it does rely on you being able to get the kills. So if you can't get that, you're going to want that one, Selective Recovery MP, or alternatively, if you don't like the idea of the HP recovery modifier, even though you're not going to be recovering HP, you can always just go for the NG collection, go for the blue one instead. That's essentially how that's going to work. Now we can go back and we can do the exact same run, and I can show what multi-talented and how that differs, and then you can make that choice for yourself. So if we go to here, would skill cost work too? You don't really, because you've got, in that build specifically, because you've got MP Collector, you need the MP card to be able to come back to be able to keep your 2 up. Your 2 is everything in that survival, for extra damage, for the resistance shred, everything like that. You need to keep Venom Injection maintained. So therefore it has to really be something MP, because this is constantly draining your MP pool as well. You kind of have to get something that's going to help you get that MP back. With one of these mods, specifically this purple one, because I've tried this as well. With this purple one, if you collect one blue orb that exists on the floor, it will almost fill up your blue bar, your MP bar from empty. It is just that strong. So that's probably my recommendation. But if you're going to try and get any kind of meaningful skill cost, most people will go for maximize conservation, and then that's going to start hurting your skill power modifiers, and we kind of want to avoid that because that's going to go against everything to do with the build. So that's going to be 20% on your projectile, on your puddle, on your room 0 trauma, on your panic, and then across everything else as well. So it's more than just 20%. It is going to be affecting a lot to do with the build. So that's the reason why I probably would push you away from that. But of course, if you know, be a little bit flexible, feel free to be able to mess about with that side of things. So that's build number 1. Anyway, that's if you've got Ultimate Freyna, because Venom Injection cannot be used on normal Freyna. Of course, everyone, you know, wants the ultimate and everything like that, but just in case you haven't unlocked Ultimate Freyna at this point in terms of the game, maybe you're like a newer player, maybe you've just come back, maybe you just don't want to be able to go for it, whatever, that's where this build starts to come in. So the idea that's different with this build, I wish there was a way that I could get all my HP back, rather than just be sitting at 1. There's got to be a health bot over here somewhere, right? Yeah, there we go. Cool. So we'll go back, we'll do the exact same mission so you can get an idea. Sorry, I'm going to have to scoot this chat over a little bit. I'm an OG Freyna main, so with that build I can start using it. Exactly. If you've got unlimited Freyna, my god. If you've got ultimate Freyna, then absolutely yes. If you've just got base Freyna, which I imagine you don't, but if you've just got base Freyna, you can still use this build regardless. So the main difference with this one, we're using the exact same gear, we're using the exact same components, we're using the exact same weapon loadouts. Super Guardian is obviously going to be your main stat stick. Last Dagger is going to be to swap to for that last little boost of the boss and everything like that. Exterminator is there to be able to help deal with those special ones. So like the Carapace and all that, kind of like the whatever they're blooming called. You're not necessarily going to be shooting down the airships and stuff like that, but you are going to deal with the Razor Claw and the Steel Pincer. And they tend to become a bit of an issue if you don't deal with their armor. And the reason why, so what we're actually going to do is use this, and that's going to be our fallback gun. We're going to fire a couple of these with the lock-on function just to be able to take away their buff that they do have, and then we can swap over and we can start bursting them down with all of our skills. So that's the idea with that one. So you'll only ever use this against the special. So with this build, the idea is that we're going to be using multi-talented to hit cooldown cap. We're going to go invest into as much damage as possible. Power increase with toxic amplification is obviously one of the main ways to be able to do that. We're going to try pretty much hit range cap. We will be as we start casting skills anyway, so we will get up to that 300%. Fantastic. We've got, you know, as much cooldown outside of that. We do have a little bit of skill duration. One, to be able to help out with the extra stuff. So as you can see, Panic goes up to 6.8 seconds. So we get an extra tick out of that, which is quite nice. But it would be nice to be able to push that over to 7. I'm wondering if that will give us enough skill duration to do that. Possibly not. It doesn't really matter too much. I suppose because we are going for multi-talented, we can take that one off. We could give this a go. See what actually that puts us up to. So yeah, so we've gone for cooldown, we've gone for as much multiplier, we've gone for as much skill power, everything like that. We've gone for range cap. Multi-talented is only in here to be able to mix in our skill 2, to be able to mess about with getting our skill cooldowns all the way up to cap, which in this case our skill 1 will go to a 1.1 second cooldown, and our skill 3 will go to a 2.5 second cooldown, but more importantly our skill 4 goes down to 11 seconds, and that allows us to be able to actually get this bursting out, to be able to take down elites, to be able to take down bosses, everything like that, so we don't have to worry too much about it. One neat trick to be able to remember with this is that it doesn't matter casting your dimension before you activate your 4, this only ever goes into cooldown after you've put this away, which means that if you get down to the last few bullets of this gun, or the last little bit of duration, then cast your skill 2, put the gun away, or fire the last few bullets, and then the cooldown will kick in, and then it will be down to 11 seconds. So that's one key thing to be able to remember when it comes to that. The cooldown also comes in quite handy as well for being able to go into a new room, because you can get your cooldowns on your 1 and your 3 ridiculously low, and then that allows you to be able to fill a room pretty much ready with all these kind of like damage malts and everything like that. So really, really quite nice to be able to mess about with. So we'll do the exact same run. We'll use this new build, and we'll show you what I mean in a practical sense. So we'll start this mission.
A large cluster of breach creatures has been detected in the area.
So we can activate this, we can start casting all of our skills.
Breach creatures multiplying. There must be a cause.
I'm running a little bit low on HP here, so that's fine, because there's going to be plenty of HP balls that exist on the floor. There we go. And then we can just rely on it. We can just, as soon as we've got the room pretty much filled, we can just start. We don't need to worry too much about the cooldown. We've got plenty going on for us. We can just do that. Now, after we bring our 4 out, as you can see here, we're just going to keep an eye on the duration bar. So we cast our 2. When we get a little bit low, puts it away, and you can see it's on an 11-second cooldown. Now, our 4 is fantastic at being able to deal with these eyes. As you can see, we're doing 1.2 mil each time. And as we get down, as we hold down the trigger and we get down to around about 5 bullets, we can fire the rest. And once again, we're back down to an 11-second cooldown. So that's how this build is intended to work. So it's a little different. It will do slightly less damage compared to the last build because we're not taking away as much resistance. But it is still pretty damn strong. It would be nice if we had a little bit more MP. That's the only other potential downside because we're not running MP collector or anything like that. If you are spamming your skills like this to be able to just get out of the way, then you might run out a little bit. We've got a special that's just turned up, so we will fire this rocket launcher. Get those all broken off. And then we can start focusing them down. And they're gone.
Primary tactical objective confirmed.
And we do the exact same thing here. Nope, I forgot to activate my 2, so now I'm on a 27-second cooldown. That wasn't very clever of me. Trying to show this build up. It wasn't the ending I wanted, but I imagine it makes sense. The build essentially is out there now, so that's the idea with that one. So every single time we enter a new room, the first thing we want to cast is number 2. That allows us to be able to fill it with 1 and 3. And then with our skill 4, before it ends, duration-wise, or before we fire the last few shots, then we want to activate our skill 2. When the gun gets put away, it will then be within that cooldown window. It will come back down on an 11-second. So this is a little bit more involved, whereas this one's a little bit more just kind of like fire abilities and just fire and forget kind of thing. But yeah, I'll happily let you all choose what is fair. So let's get rid of you. E-band. Sorry, had one of those bot spam messages pop up, so just dealing with that one. There we go. That should be all sorted. So there you go. That is essentially everything to do with those 2 builds that I'm currently working on the video for, and we'll get that brought out then. So, all right, let's. Get some resources then. If you do have any questions on any of that, feel free to ask them. If you have any suggestions as well, I'm more than more than happy to hear those as well. That's not a problem on my side. I feel like I caught everything, but there's every chance that I've possibly missed something. There's plenty of Freyna players, I'm sure, that are currently sitting in this chat, so can you tell I was farming Molten Fortress a little bit? Also made my sword shiny, just because I didn't like the default effect on that sword. So it has to be a nice clean sword, you know. And I've realised I've just used that as an excuse just to be able to flash at that a little bit. So we've got content for everyone. Right, so let's go back here. Let's start talking about Nell. W-cooning. Unintentional as well, that's the crazy part. I genuinely went in that with pure intentions. Oh, that's just stupid. There was one thing I did want to try. I don't think it actually does work the way I want it to, but I was thinking, does Kingsguard Lance have a weak point modifier? It does. If we activate our ability, let's have a look, because for whatever reason the screen wants to cut off a little bit of that chat, so... is, by the way, Tank Ajax still viable somehow, or Ajax in general? No, the meta is only around Serena now, but I don't know how many descendants kind of get forgotten. I wouldn't quite say that he's forgotten in that sense. I do think he's absolutely worthwhile inside of Axion, because he does plenty of damage. So you don't really need to worry about that too much. It depends on the kind of build you're going for. Looks like I need to just finish that one off, that's fine. So his Leap build's absolutely fine. Got nothing to worry about there. Still a fantastic build. If anything, it's probably just got better for the fact that you can just build so much into defense now. With all like the component cores and everything like that. So he's got a lot going for him. Power Beyond gives him a lot of extra skill power insight into his abilities as well, because they've already got really good skill power modifiers. So you can really do a lot of damage with this. You might even be able to get away with just not going for tech, going for the Leap build or anything like that. You absolutely could mess about with going for a dimension based build and go for his expulsion. So that would be that one, if I remember right. Oh, does it modify its attack? Oh, even better. If it modifies its attack, then in that case you can just keep Secret Garden out. So, yeah, you could absolutely spam this ability with Secret Garden, with Power Beyond, with this just kind of general setup. Probably could take off some of the defense and all that kind of thing, but either way. And yeah, you could do some absolute work with this. Obviously, you won't have as much mobility as your Leap or anything like that, but you'll still have more than enough damage in terms of Void Explosion, just to be able to just absolutely deal some insane kind of like damage and all that kind of thing. So we'll put that back on because that just keeps this. I'll probably mess about with an expulsion build at some point. As for like full-on tank in terms of like unkillable, as I was messing about with here, what I was doing, and I don't think there's currently a need for this build. You could try this. I will put this out there, you could try this. But there is a way to be able to get so much like damage reduction and all that kind of thing that you are essentially almost unkillable. I've not tried this on Warcrasher. It's not fully tested. I've just purely used it in Kingston just to be able to test out a theory. So just keep that in mind. But if you do go for something like this, what you can get if you go for the Moving Fortress set... Oh, it looks like they've sorted out the maths on this. So, if you use Moving Fortress, it's all defense. So you'll get massive amounts of defense. You'll go even higher than the 223k that you can currently see here. You'll then get another 25% because of the 2-piece. Bye, mate. And then the extra 4-piece set where it says reduces incoming damage modifier. You want to try that? Okay. What I'll do then is... give you a full example as to what I was currently trying out. So I will come back to you, Sai. Just give me 1 second. Let me just be able to show what this can do. Yeah, you want that. Do we want all this? Maybe. Trying to think, is there anything better slots in? Probably not. I mean, yeah, you probably could take off neurostimulation to get your HP back every 30 seconds. Use the dog that heals every 30 seconds. If you use this setup, you have obviously your defense stat, which will be any like basic damage that's going to be coming in, so physical damage and all that kind of thing. I think this might be near cap. I'd need to double check the numbers and all that kind of thing. But if this is near cap, that's 80% damage reduction from the amount of physical damage that will be coming into you. You then have your incoming damage modifier, which is cutting it down by 44.5% as it currently stands. That goes even higher because we have our inversion reinforcement, which also gives us another up to 10%. So that will go even higher that way. And then it goes even higher than that because we then have... what was it? No. Well, I think this is already sorted, but essentially, the more defense that you can get, the more... Oh, this adds up to 10% and all that kind of thing, sorry. I was essentially just trying to see what I could get away with stacking incoming damage modifier. And then that essentially makes it so that I was just kind of getting tickled. I could probably... Do you know what? Let's try this. I haven't even given Ajax a vehicle. Fantastic. He can just walk. The thing that's putting me off from making a video about it is if I can just get hit. There we go. So the thing that puts me off making a video about it is the fact that I've definitely seen higher. I'm probably missing something. And I've just healed straight up. But as long as every 30 seconds I've got something healing me, I literally can just stand here forever. I can get that damage higher, and I don't know. I can't remember what I did to be able to get the damage reduction. I've seen 74. I mean, anyway, so it's just stupid. I'm clearly missing something because I've seen that number go higher. What was I doing? Is it this? I'm pretty confident. Hold on. I've got a Discord message. I just need to double check. I'm so certain I've got it higher than that. I just need to try and find where I saw it, where I put it. Okay, I did get it higher, but I didn't get it as high as I thought I had. So I got it up to 0.613. So what was it? What am I missing? I mean, that's not a bad shout, to be fair, but... I mean, it has a detrimental effect, but still, that's... I can take minus 5% HP for that. I'll have to try and remember. yeah, essentially that's the best kind of... If you want to take a screenshot of that, feel free. That's essentially what I was messing about with, was just to see what is the most tankiest player, theoretically, that could be made. And even in Axion, like I said, you managed to see getting swarmed and all that kind of thing. I was still just kind of getting tickled. And then one single expulsion was enough to just be able to deal enough damage to be able to get out. So you still have the damage behind you, should you need to be able to, with focus on attribute and all that kind of thing. I don't know if necessary particle... I mean, you know, you probably could get away with... This is just in case you do manage to get to enhanced version, then you can just pass out a buff to teammates and stuff like that. Or alternatively, you could literally just go for Power Beyond and just give yourself a little bit more skill power if you just want to mess about with that side of things. As for if I would do a build video on this, I'm more than happy to do one. The problem I've got with that is that if I put this one out, not too many people are going to care about it. There are going to be people that do want this kind of thing, because at the end of the day, there's always going to be people that enjoy playing co-op, there's going to be people that enjoy playing the more supportive roles and everything like that. That's why Eugen and Luna and all those kind of exist and everything like that. But if we really kind of boil it down to what the main thing to do in this game, and what the player base are really kind of like after, in terms of like maybe 90 to 95% of the people that are going to be playing this game, they're going to be wanting things that complete the content. They're going to want something that can still do damage, they want all that kind of thing. And while yes, this is fine for that kind of thing, it's kind of hard to suggest and be able to pass this off as a build that I'll go, this is what you should be running, if that makes sense. So it's a fun little idea that I just keep in my back pocket and all that kind of thing, but if it was a serious build and everything like that, I probably wouldn't put this out there, if that makes sense. So, just based on, obviously, what viewers and all that kind of thing... It kind of boils down a little bit to... So here's a little bit of a... Here's a little lore for you. So... No, absolutely, Silent Hunter. I mean, heck, I'm more than happy to... If you're in the Discord and all that kind of thing, I'm more than happy just to build theorize this and craft it with you and all that kind of thing. I've got no issues with being able to spend a little bit more time on this and everything like that. I just... In terms of, like, putting time towards, like, making a video and all that kind of thing, it just doesn't make too much sense to me as it currently stands, until maybe like content starts drying up or we actually have a need for this, if that makes sense. Yeah, so a little bit of lore dump and all that kind of thing. So a couple of years back, back when Outriders was like a game that people enjoyed and wanted to play and all that kind of thing. When Worldslayer... Was it Worldslayer? No, it was New Horizons. When the New Horizons DLC dropped, they introduced some new levels and everything like that. I made... I made a Devastator build to... just made a Devastator build that just basically couldn't die. Oh, Outriders. Yeah, no, I mean... It's part of the content creator for that as well and everything like that. I absolutely love that game. Got to see the Square Enix offices in London. That was fantastic. So good. I was a huge Final Fantasy X like fan and everything like that, and Kingdom Hearts as well. And getting to go to a Square Enix and all that kind of thing. Oh, it was almost like a dream come true. It was fantastic. But yeah, so I basically made a Devastator build that just couldn't die. The whole purpose of it was that it would buff up the rest of the teammates. It literally didn't really have a place. It was just a fun little build, just to laugh about the fact that I could just not die. I could be surrounded, nothing would happen to me. I would perfectly stay upright. You'd never have to pick me up off the floor or anything like that. And the viewership on that tanked because no one cared, and it was just so fun. So it ended up just being a little video for me that I just enjoyed making and everything. So, good times. Mikhail Doss, hey, how's it going? Thank you so much for stopping by into the stream. Do you have a Leland build? I'll be honest with you, I'm not too sure which character that is. Unless that's a Warframe reference, in which case, I've not played Warframe enough to be able to understand that. So, which character is Leland? Can you describe them to me? Maybe it's some kind of translation issue or something like that. Maybe I'm trying to think. Leland. I mean, if I've got something, I'm more than happy to share it for you. That's not a problem. Or is it a Keelan build? Keelan? Keelan? Closest thing I could possibly come to. Is it? Maybe it's autocorrect that's done you a disservice there or something. That's the only thing I can think of. Random question, but do you stream on YouTube as well? I'm currently streaming over there as well, as we currently speak. We are doing multi-stream to both Twitch as well as to YouTube, as it currently stands. So, I'm trying to grow the Twitch a little bit. You know, if I can get to affiliates, I'd be happy with that. But I understand most of my core audience is over on the YouTube side of things, so it's going to be a slow process. But yes, I do currently stream on both, so you can catch me on both. Right, let's do... Now, let's figure this one out. So, kind of want to test... Keelan. Ah, fantastic. Yeah, no, of course. What kind of content are you looking for Keelan, to be able to use Keelan in? There, Mikhail. Because I did spend a little bit of time with Keelan. Did I actually unlock the new suits for him? Can't remember. I got the frozen one. Give him a suit. That makes sense. Yeah, well, like I said, it depends a little bit on the content. So if you're talking in... Because I know a few people are enjoying Keelan for Stormhanger. Keelan is primarily good for Stormhanger if you go for a crit build. It is the only time that people are going for a crit build for Keelan, as it currently stands. So I haven't called him up for that just yet. But what we could do is if I take one of these apart... Probably could discuss the ideas behind it just to be able to test it, but essentially, have I got a better arcade leak than that? I like Keelan for mobbing. I think Keelan is a lot of fun for mobbing. But 119, I'm happy with that. 115, go with 119. Why was I messing with that? It's because of Focus on Prey. That's why. Yeah. So I did use a base Keelan for. I am pretty far down the rankings now that people have realised that you can do them in 10 seconds. So yeah, I'm not there. Crit is primarily for Stormhanger. If you are going for Stormhanger, then you do want to be able to run crit. That gets you the fastest times. You will be crit fishing a lot. I will worry and just warn you that right out the gate, because Keelan is... If I take off... I could probably recreate this, it's fine. So if I take off everything, so we're currently sitting at base. Nothing adding to crit, nothing adding to crit. We have a 5% base crit hit rate, so you will be crit farming to try and get those really fast times. In terms of like a typical generic build, Veteran Tactics probably isn't the play anymore, I don't think. I think it's currently a little bit bugged. Or it's just not working the way that it's supposed to be intending as it currently stands. At least that's what I've heard out in the community and all that kind of thing. But Veteran Tactics was there to be able to... because the main kind of like general gist of his mobbing side of things is to spam his 2. Once you run out of 2, go to your 4, restock all your dashes, go back to 2s and everything like that. So the main kind of like gameplay loop is going to be around those 2. Every now and then you'll mix in a 1, every now and then you'll mix in a 3. But the main thing is that you're going to be using your 2 and your 4. With your 2 and your 4, unlimited dashes, or as many dashes as possible, is mainly the way that you should be playing Keelan. To get cooldown back, you get that with just standard. You can get this cooldown lower. So I will suggest that... actually... The only way that you can get it lower is if you go for Hunter set. So we do go for cooldown here. when we go for the mobbing side of things and we start beating enemies, Toxic Cohesion seems to be the best play. Go for as much cooldown and all that kind of thing. I just mess about with that a little bit. Yeah, it looks like it. So yeah, that'll be it. So that'll be the tree, because we do want the range on our mobbing side of things. Bossing side of things, you want that, so whatever. Your range increases your chance of being able to pierce through enemies, or like the forgiveness that skill has, to be able to then get your cooldown back. If you pierce through one enemy, you'll be getting 5 seconds back. If you pierce through 2 enemies, you will be getting 10 seconds back. And because this has a stat cooldown of currently 7 seconds, that means that you'll be consistently refreshing your stock. Because this goes all the way up to 5 stacks as well, it's really easy to be able to keep maintaining those stacks as well. So it's really, really good. You can go for a little bit more of a riskier playstyle if you want to do a little bit more damage. So if you do want to go that kind of route, you can take off Focus on Toxic, and if you replace that with Power Increase, which I'm trying to think, it would essentially just be take this mod off and go for Power Increase. If I just do that instead, just to be able to show you. So that takes up to a 10.4 second cooldown on that, which means that you have to consistently keep reliably piercing through enemies to be able to keep it stocked up. It's still fine, you can maintain this, do not be put off by the fact that it has 10 seconds, but it is much easier if you do go for your Focus on Toxic, because it's much easier to be able to keep a refresh on the 7 seconds than it is for the 10.4 seconds, as that makes sense. But you will be doing more damage if you go for Power Increase, so it's a bit of a trade-off, but most of the time you're normally fine with this kind of build to be able to go for. If you don't have... I mean, this build by itself gives you 11k HP, but of course you can go for a HP mod inside of there, or there, whichever. Trying to think, is there anything else that I would potentially add to this? I mean, Decimate is always a decent shout, because you would be adding a little bit of extra multiplier. Dangerous Ambush is also a pretty decent shout as well, because if you are running into enemies that haven't spawned and targeted you just yet, you will be doing even more damage by that route. Is there anything else? Trying to think. Probably not. HP Collector, I mean, is just a typical standard thing that you can just run. You could go for Venom Syncytium. I always get this pronounced wrong. To be able to get a little bit more skill power into all of your damage and everything like that. But anything like this will be absolutely fine. Death by 1,000 Cuts is not going to be the play. Please ignore... That's going to be from the bossing side of things. So what you do want is Power Beyond or Arcade Leak. I've heard a few things around the community about Arcade Leak. I think this should be giving you extra additional skill power modifier, which will then affect everything that you're going to be doing with the rest of your build. I've yet to personally try this one out, but I've heard that Arcade Leak is a decent substitute. And also Power Beyond is the other one that you can just fall back on to be able to do even more skill power. So hopefully that gives you some kind of idea. I've yet to like properly revisit Keelan, but he's always been a solid pick with this kind of build in my book, so you can absolutely get away with this one, I think. Sorry, I would prefer nil for consistency on Stormhanger. I mean, that's fair enough. Yeah, the crit fishing is awkward to say the least. I've never been a fan of crit fishing because that means that the build isn't consistent. It's all good and well and fun for like a flashy clip and, you know, for leaderboards and all that kind of thing. Fantastic. You know, got nothing against that. That makes sense because crits do way more damage than go for the amplification mods. Makes sense. You know, you can activate your wand to be able to trigger Blue Beetle. That will give you an extra 5%. You can go into crit modules here. That will be giving you another 10% on top of that. So you get around about a 20% crit rate before you go into Reactor and Arcade Tuning, which will give you like another 60%, I think it is. So what, like another 3% crit rate? Surely that's not worth it for the points and investment there. You probably go for Colossus attack and cooldown or crit damage or something like that. I must admit, I need to watch the clip properly because it doesn't make... Because the boss was still going to have a crit resistance. Yeah, still going to have a 40%. So I'm curious as to how that all kind of works. It makes sense with the Luna. The Luna can absolutely buff base crit rate to high heavens and all that kind of thing, and a proper crit build makes sense with that one. That's not a problem. Mikhail, thank you. Yeah, absolutely no problems. Yeah, if you've got any questions about anything else and any other builds and all that kind of thing, feel free, fire away and all that kind of thing. That's absolutely no problems. I'm more than happy to share out what I personally rock, so it's absolutely fine by me. That reminds me, I need to sort out a Luna build as well. Ah, that's fine. I'll probably just grab like Geordie or something like that and show off like the bonuses that pretty much grants. So yeah, that's like I say, I mean, you know, there's always going to be one really good run that you can get with that. If it's the most consistent one for doing it all without a Luna, probably not. You'd probably just go for a Jaber, a Nell, something along those kind of lines. Which reminds me, I need to farm for some more green tickets. I need to get all these outfits. I need... Could I go over the trigger mod for Freyna real quick? Yeah, absolutely. Sorry, I meant to come back to that, chat. Yeah, no, that's fair enough. Honestly, all this insider information I'm giving you before the build video goes up. So Power Beyond. Power Beyond's the best one to be able to go for. So that one, just to give you an idea, will trigger on you 1 and 3. When you get up to 4 stacks, it will activate the toe. It'll bring them into the zone where all the damage over time. So even if they haven't been applied with the dots just yet, it will suck them into the puddle. They will then get applied by those dots and everything like that. So it's also really good for like the extra puddles that get dropped on the floor if you do manage to kill through contagion links. So it will spawn toxic puddles and toxic reaction on the floor as you start killing enemies and all that kind of thing. It's just really good to be able to actually spread that around. So not only is it giving you an extra skill power boost, it's also giving you extra like spreading capacity, everything like that. So yeah, got a lot going for that. Yeah, no worries at all, Si. That's absolutely not a problem. Perf's going to be a decent shout, but Malevolent Ah, dear. Wow. It's crazy. 6% critical hit damage increase. Oh. Honestly. This thing's broke. It could be decent for... Be decent as a boss killer right at the end, maybe. Just trying to think, what could you possibly need? You need a mobbing gun, which hopefully the Albion Cavalry covers. We need something that's going to be a heavy hitter. Piercing Light could be that shout. Wave of Light could also be it. Ah dear. This is a bit of a stinker, eh? That'll get up to 100, get up to 10x. Pretty decent. Extra crit. Real life fighter. Why did I have that on? It's a real stumper. Why do I have your fire rate increased, really? 91k.
Descendant, I've picked up a mutant material formation signal in the skies nearby.
I might try that. It does reduce its fire rate, which is fine because I want it to reset. Just feels like there isn't really like a fantastic gun. What do you have? That's an interesting idea. What does Weak Point do for ricochets? Guess we're about to find out. Well, I did say I was going to test a bit.
Descendant, a large cluster of breach creatures has been
Okay. I'm the only one here, so... Fantastic. Thank you so much for teleporting me back.
A large cluster of breach creatures has been detected in the area.
Large-scale dimensional breaching process. Please evacuate the
see what this does. Because I'm genuinely curious. Thank you, instant release. Oh, I've lost my glasses. Seems pretty powerful. If only I had something to regain my HP instead of just like dying constantly. I'll say that though. It's pretty decent. We've found a use for the AK that isn't Serena. Fantastic. So your buff goes away, in which case then it becomes a little bit like a wet noodle.
Attendant, destroy this tactical objective. Please confirm.
Wet noodle. A bit of a wet noodle. That's taken a while.
Copy of breach creature spotted inside the operations system.
Let's just pull everyone down. Yeah, they really do need to change. I think if they change how the skill 4 behaves, is really pay to yeah, change it so we can loop it. I don't understand why, because at the moment it's really kind of hindering us to go into duration too much. I mean, this doesn't feel terrible. I do need to check. I've got a Wave of Light blueprint. Fantastic. Like, this feels fine, but then as soon as the buff goes, you are in trouble, basically. Just get out of it. Pretty sure my skills just disappeared. How was I supposed to see that? It's just come out of nowhere. Thoughts? Worst enemy that in the game that they possibly could have made are those suicidal squad like bouncing ones. It's fine. It's yeah, we'll consider that done. Let's have a look. Wall Crusher, a Nell Wall Crusher build. Not really, but we could probably figure one out together, to be fair. So I believe she's primarily used for... working? I mean, 3 max isn't terrible. Just doesn't really... soften them up. Get some duration. There's just a lot of bullets coming in. It's fine.
Search and destroy required.
I mean, that's doing more work. Oh god. It's so hard. Oh god, where's he gone? Oh god, no. No, no. God, I hate you. Oh god. No. I really hate him. Let's have a look. Cyprian, how does Nell feel with a weapon build? God, that should be all the answer you need, really. I suppose the answer's not terrible. I don't think she's fantastic. I do think that a skill build is much better. Like, miles better. But... can you get work done? I mean, I wasn't even using 5 focus rounds on that then. It's a tough one. We're trying to figure out what the best weaponry to be able to use is going to be. Because I think if you take a look at the weapon categories that we have on offer, hand cannons are going to be way too slow. Especially in Axiom planes. There's too much mobbing going on. The Z-Striz is a fantastic weapon. Wouldn't recommend it here. Unless you're going into like a team comp or something like that, where the extra weak point, the defense shred and all that kind of thing. Wouldn't recommend it. Malevolent's not too bad, to be fair, because you can reliably trigger payout. It's got a decent-ish weak point damage multiplier. I mean, it's 2.5x, so you can build quite nicely into that. So Malevolent is just going to go from meh to good. Anything that can already ricochet and already do mobbing is a good set, but it's still pales in comparison to a skill build. A skill build is just so much easier to be able to use. I was only messing around with that Ancient Knight because I know I've built it into like weak points and stuff like that for Wall Crusher. So I thought maybe it would translate over because we've got some extra weak point stuff going on. Maybe it can do something with that for the extra multi-hit. I mean, we do have You know, multi-hit induction, which is going to give us 57% multi-hit chance. That will get us to over 100, if not close to like 150 maybe. Due to the fact of like all the extra multipliers that go into it and all that kind of stuff. So, you know, multi-hit's not bad, but it's a single target gun. And I'm not entirely sure just yet. I do need to do a little bit more testing on how the ballistic trackers all kind of works. I do think the ricochet on this is actually quite good if you build into things like crit and everything like that. So if you've got a gun that reliably crits, the extra damage from that does seem to actually work for the ricochet. And if you've got enemies that are all stood nearby, it does go up to 5 and all that kind of thing. I do have some notes kicking around somewhere. Ever since she came out, I've used it for both bossing and mobbing, besides Wall Crusher. Her kit's just that fun. Yeah, no, absolutely, I stand with you. Ever since Nell dropped and got access to her red mob that turns her into a skill build, I've put her along the lines of VSer maybe for how solid her actual skill kit feels, and it feels satisfying to use as well. It doesn't feel overpowered, it doesn't feel broken or busted or anything like that. It feels strong, don't get me wrong. It does feel really, really strong, but I wouldn't go to the extent of going, poof, I'm literally just like Thanos snapping everything out of here. So, Ricochet now. There you are. Tim F, you've made it. How is it going? Finally cooking up Ultimate Blade? Gonna use your builds? Oh, absolutely. Oh, in that case, well, I was messing about with one earlier for Dante or Son of Sparta in this chat right now, because we were talking about like farming like Molten Fortress and stuff like that. It has been a while since I've messed about with his big massive meatball. Oh god, I've just realised what I've possibly said there. But you can go into that and you can one-shot Molten Fortress, which is hilarious. In theory, you can also do it to Gluttony, but Gluttony has a 70% crit rate resistance, which is hilarious. So it makes it really, really inconsistent. But everything from Tony downwards, from Fortress downwards, you can one-shot, which is hilarious. It's fantastic. It's such a satisfying build to use. So what did we find? So we were using Albion Cavalry. So we found out if we used Albion Cavalry and we used both her skill 2 fully stacked up as well as her skill 4, because one's additive and one's multiplicative when it comes to a weak point, we got roughly around about a 27.34% increase to the amount of damage on a level 260 enemy. The Ricochet went from 5,300 to one target to 12,215 against 5. And this was also affected by multipliers. So the more stuff that we built into, the more it made sense. So crits and everything like that is fantastic for Ricochet. So this isn't necessarily going to be getting you like full on the kills or anything like that, but it is going to be more than strong enough to be able to like weaken mobs and all that kind of thing. And then if you start tying it in with Albion Cavalry's ricochets that's already built in, or Malevolence where it's already got the blades that bounce around and everything like that, you're pretty much good to go. I don't think you need to worry too much about that. It's just trying to find out if like maybe a single target gun can also benefit from all of this. And I think that's the real kind of testing that I do want to just kind of like get through. Eraser's not terrible, it can do some work. Sniper rifles don't fire fast enough to really kind of benefit from the extra ricochet, but I suppose there's nothing stopping you being able to build up the ricochet and then your next shot being the sniper shot, and then that will do even more damage. But, you know, there's a few things that do work, but in terms of, like, Axion, which seems to be the new bar that people seem to want to work from, a firearm is kind of rough. But we'll do a run with Albion Cavalry, and we'll do a run with Malevolent just to make sure and just be able to get that testing under our belts. Papa Peeps, how's it going? Thank you so much for stopping by to the stream. Really do appreciate you. Thank you so much. How's your week going? Weapon and Cinder builds take me longer because of age. Frustrating most of the time, but sticking with it. Well, sorry to hear that, but it's I mean, heck, that's what I'm here for, to just be able to work through some guides and stuff like that. I wouldn't ever tell you to specifically copy me, like, word for word, module for module, and all that kind of thing. I do think that limits creativity, and I think that limits people from, you know, experimenting and learning the builds and understanding how it all comes together and all that kind of thing. But I always like to put out something to be able to, you know, like a blueprint for you to be able to follow and understand and all that kind of thing. So, heck, if there's anything that you've got a question about, if you're working on a build and all that kind of thing, you want some input and all that kind of stuff, feel free to be able to find my direction. I've got no problems doing that. That's absolutely fine by me. I'm more than happy to share and pass on any kind of wisdom that I've managed to get from what we're up to now. Just shy of 1,500 hours in the game as it currently stands, so that's a crazy amount of time. But yeah, if there's anything that you're unsure about, if there's any kind of questions or anything, feel free. I've got no problems. Right, let's try Albion Cavalry.
Descendant, a large cluster of breach creatures has been detected in the area.
Right, let's see what you do. Short on HP as it currently stands, but that's fine. So the good thing about Albion Cavalry is the fact that it's also got some really nice crowd control built into it as well. Oh god, no, not the exploding eyes, no! Yes.
Breach creatures multiplying. There must be a colony.
I'm not kidding you when I tell you that the recoil on this is insane, and I think that's probably because of everything we've got going on with the trigger module. So whether this is going to be the best mod for it, I don't know just yet. Thank you so much for the subscription there, Cyprian. I really do appreciate it. Thank you so much. Hope you're enjoying the stream. This might end up being a sort of build guide or something like this. Might be a warning to the community. Just saying, can we get a buff for this? Because we consider Freyna not necessarily strong inside the vaccine. We would have cleared this room by now if we were playing as Freyna. It's a bit on the slow side. It gets the job done eventually, but
Descendant, destroy this tactical objective. Please confirm. Colony of breach creatures spotted inside the operations zone.
whee! Taking a while. Taking a while. I like how I'm still a gun descendant, but hitting with the skill clears out the horde faster than actually shooting with the gun. So I'm not even built into really skill damage and I'm still doing damage. Ugh. It's not great. Oh, I'm stuck. Let's do the Malevolent. Oh, I've actually done the ejective here. Have to go through all your Malevolent ammo. There we go. Yeah, it's just taking its time. I don't know. I'd probably, this probably is fine for anywhere that isn't Axion.
Descendant, Volga's comms traffic is increasing at your location. It looks like Legion of Breach.
But
Volga's assault ship identified.
I will come back to the chat in a second, just because I'm trying to see if maybe I'm the reason why this isn't working properly, but I do think it's probably the build itself. There's not much else I can kind of do, really. Yes. Yeah. Can we just break his... Interesting. Oh dear. Oop. Ow. And go. I mean, that does shred. That's nutty damage there, so it can't be just... I mean, granted, they are built into toxic on...
Search and destroy required.
Anyway. I don't know. This is too difficult to recommend as a build, like proper build for Axion, I think. I don't know. What are the thoughts of the people watching? Like, because I personally think it's a little bit. Yeah. Oh well. That's fine. Right, where are we up to in the chat? Let me just teleport out. We can start catching up. So we've got Chris HD about male characters, bro. Which one is worth investing for Void Purge and for the new Season 3 content Axion? Ooh, that's a good one. Jaybird, as Cyprian has mentioned, pretty solid. So if let's have a look as to who we've currently got. So some of the male descendants do actually do pretty decently. So Jaber is one that I've recently done a build video on, just explaining the skill rotation, because there is a fair bit to try, like in terms of, you can't just go straight in from like other descendants and all that kind of thing to understand Jaber. You do have to understand a little bit about his kit before you can go into that. It's not like a big thing or anything like that, but it is something you probably should be aware of. What you do want to be able to rock is Dimension-Based Reactor, because we're primarily using our skill 1 for damage. Skill 4 is also pretty good for damage, but you already have enough damage multiplier into that, so you might as well build into your 1. Enlightened Mage is pretty much the go-to for it, because he is non-attribute, and he's also pretty good at spamming his skills. Peacemaker is the way to go, because he does spam dimension-based abilities to be able to build up single reload for peace, and then that will actually give you additional non-attribute skill power. And when it comes to the modules, this is primarily what you want to be rocking. If you're looking to be able to use him in Purge, if you're looking to be able to use him in Axion, this is what I would personally recommend. You can swap out Dangerous Ambush to be able to go full Multi-Talented instead. That will allow you to be able to spam your skill 1 a little bit faster. This will get it down from a 3.8 down to a 2-second cooldown. So you can mess about with that side of things if you prefer. Me, personally, I like the idea that I can put this onto enemies that are spawning and I'll do even more damage. Plus, if you do have your medical turret thrown into here with its special ability, which is its turret zone, it's going to grant a taunt, and the taunt will then make it so that enemies aren't targeting you specifically, and then you'll be actually able to do a little bit more damage with Dangerous Ambush. The best way to be able to get your turrets into their enhanced state is by activating any one of your turrets, activating your skill 4. This will then give you Overhaul for 30 seconds. When in Overhaul, you will then be placing any of your turrets after that in their enhanced state straight away. You can maintain this by activating your 3. The reason why we've gone for Turret Engineering, though, is because if you swap to a 3 without it, it will become a unique weapon, and then you'll lose all the stacks that you do have built up on Peacemaker. Power Beyond is fantastic for this as well, because it gives you a base skill power increase. But then after every 4th ability, I think it is, with your skill 1, this will activate a Toe. And the reason why that's so good is because your turret 1 has an AoE effect around it that will do damage every 0.3 seconds. Fantastic stuff. It's pretty good for mobbing, to be fair. It's not bad. You can stack these on top of each other to do even more damage and all that kind of stuff. And then when you get to close, or if you need to activate Overhaul again, you just activate 4 again. So pretty decent, to be fair, pretty solid. Absolutely fine inside of Axion, absolutely fine inside of Purge as well, which is quite funny to be able to see. Ajax with his jump ability, I've seen people doing well inside of Axion. He actually does have plenty of damage behind all of his skills, so he can actually get some of that stuff done. I mean, Relic spam with Crit Gunner Enzo or Sprinkler Enzo is also pretty good. You literally can just hold down the trigger, just let the rockets do their business and everything like that. Pretty decent. He also has unlimited ammo because of how his build all kind of works. Blair seems to be pretty good. I've yet to properly take him inside of Axion, but he's absolutely fine everywhere else, so I can't imagine he would actually have an issue inside of Axion. As for which of his builds is probably better, not too sure just yet. Backdraft is going to be your weapon side of things. You could mess about with that. Flamin' Bunny, as I like to call it for next level recipe, is your one where you cast it, and as you start moving around, you put flame zones down. Could be pretty good. Hot Delivery is also pretty fun to be able to actually kind of use. And then you've got your Meatballs, which is your medium range, kind of like spam, and then also your lock on for your skill 4. Pretty decent build. This was what I was primarily rocking for maiden takedowns, but you can mess about and take a few things out. You probably could go for a HP mod for this. Probably could maybe chuck out Fire Synxium or Hyper Focus to be able to make sense for that. So yeah, so I've yet to adapt this for Axion, but he's a pretty strong descendant. I can't imagine he would have too many issues. I did try Isimo, however you want to pronounce it, inside of Axion, with a really fun skill 4 build for using Creative Explosion. Basically just getting this down to like a 4-second cooldown. Just hitting cooldown cap is hilarious with this. You basically just activate it, you wait 4 seconds, you then run and you do a massive explosion, wait 4 seconds, run, massive explosion, wait 4 seconds. It is a really funny kind of like gameplay loop. It's not going to be the fastest thing in the world, but if you do have like a lot of aggro drawn to you, it's a lot of fun to be able to mess about with. And then you can just mix it up with your skill 1 and skill 3 to be able to take down some of the elites, some of the more stubborn things. Trying to think. I'm yet to try Eugen, but I know the Full Measure did a build on Eugen yesterday, I think it was, or today. It's one of the two. So I've yet to like properly check that one out. So that probably would be fine. Keelan's Keelan, doing Keelan things. The main thing just to really kind of like avoid is probably going to be Kyle at the moment. So I don't think Kyle really has a place inside of Axiom as it currently stands. But I'm hoping that he's going to be one that's going to get buffed. So I guess we'll see. One thing I do actually want to try, just to see if this actually does work. You can see I've really tried Lepic so far. Is that probably that, and then probably that. Yeah, I want to test something. So originally, I don't know if this is going to work. Just for the record, I don't know if this is necessarily going to work. But we're going to try it. So originally in not in Axiom, in Sigma Sector, this used to be a pretty fun build just to be able to run, especially if you were playing co-op. The idea was it's not doing as much. Oh, it's getting there actually. Hold on. There we go. Now we're getting there.
Breach creatures multiplying. There must be a colony.
Okay, I'm glad this kind of works. It's not bad. I was expecting worse, to be fair. I do love the little roasting sound effect that's coming from this. That's fine. That was just to mess about and try something. It's been a long time since I brought that build out, but it was always a case that Truly Deadly Arson was a lot of fun to be able to mess about with. There's probably a few things I could probably change on this. See if we can crank out a little bit more damage out of it, but because a few things have changed recently, so we can figure that one out. That's fine. That's for another time. That's way down the line. That's way. Sheep vs. Interwebs, well, thank you so much for stopping by. Appreciate you popping into the chat and popping into the stream. How's everything? How's your week treating you so far? Heck yeah, you streamed too. Want to say thank you for the builds as someone that left it during Season 1. Oh, well, absolutely, you're welcome. No problems. I mean, I know it's had a little bit of a rough time, this game, and all that kind of thing over its full like development and all that kind of thing. But no, I'm glad I stuck out with it. I've really enjoyed like the build crafting and everything like that. Especially where the Season 3's really refreshed it for me. I don't know if this is necessarily the same for everyone that's currently in the chat and all that, But Season 3 has really done a massive job of revitalising my interest in this game and everything like that. Don't get me wrong, I've enjoyed it throughout and everything like that, so I'm not trying to make it out like it's anything else, but I don't know, all they've done is introduce Axiom, but for some reason it's just really blown my interest straight up and everything like that. It no longer feels like a chore, no longer feels like a well, it's not a hobby, it's more like a, yeah, I suppose like chores probably the right words and all that kind of thing. It used to be a case of, oh, I've got to grind this, oh, I've got to do that, and all that kind of thing. But yeah, I've really been enjoying it so far. It's been great. Tim F just got my Truly Deadly Arson. It's not a fantastic gun, I will say that to you. I do think it's very niche. It could be better. Especially in terms of like generic use and all that kind of thing. But I did find, and it looks like you can kind of get away with it in Axiom. Keep in mind that most of this is like 4-player difficulty and all that kind of thing, even though it's a private lobby and all that. But inside of like Sigma Sector, said it earlier as well, I completely forgot about it. So inside the Sigma Sector, this was a lot of fun to be able to mess about with as a build. Because essentially what you would do is you would take my gravity build that we did have for several months and all that kind of thing, which is this kind of setup. The main reason you want to go for this is you want to try and get as much on your traction grenade as possible, and then when you have your traction grenade fully, you know, cooldowned up and also into range and into duration, you would essentially become invincible, because the enemies are just constantly being towed into the grenade, and that means they can't attack you back. And then when they're all in that massive clump and when they're in that massive pile and everything like that, you would then go into your skill 2 for your power unit change. This would then put burn onto your grenade, but it would also boost up your firearm attack increase as well as your explosive attack into the gun that you're currently using. Because you're applying burn with grenade throw, this then triggers with Truly Deadly Arson. So when you're hitting an enemy, it inflicts a void fire. When burn is inflicted on top of this void fire, it transforms it into Inferno. And Inferno, so Voidfire did this amount of damage once it applied, so once it got removed, if I remember right. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that was the case. Once this got removed, it did this massive burst of damage. And then it transforms into Inferno and does even more damage on top of that as well, all that kind of thing. So that was the idea, because this had massive penetration as well. With 80,000, it pretty much went through everyone that was inside that traction nade. So yeah, that was the main reasoning for this build. It basically took the gravity build that was already, you know, fine and had Greg's Reverse Fate and all that kind of thing. It was okay as a build, but then it actually gave it a weapon that it could actually use to be able to deal damage. I have got like a build guide of the Truly Deadly Arson on the channel. If you check that out, it will actually give you Sigma Sector gameplay, and it will show you what crits you can actually expect from that gun just like detonating. And it just basically like one tap of the gun, gone, poof, gone. It was insane. Looks like it's not quite the case in Axiom, which is a bit of a shame, but it was good fun. It was a lot of good fun. Probably could mess about with. No, you don't have a slot for what's it called? Defense neutralization. So we can't go that route. Also, it looks like I probably should have gone that for the skill tree. I haven't even fully. Jesus, I haven't even put all my arcade tuning points in. Fantastic. So I probably would go here, grab a little bit more duration. Maybe even go to cooldown. Either way, it's fine. Mess about with that another time. I've obviously clearly got to revisit this and actually update it at some point. Is this JB using? No, this one is Lepic. So yeah, feel free to be able to mess about with that one. Chris, like Lepic a lot. Wish they would buff him more in the next update or something. I mean, he used to be the king in the past. Boss killer, mob clear, everything. Yeah, he absolutely did. He was literally everyone's go-to when it came to Colossus takedowns. And then he just fell off, and you know, power creep and everything like that. I do think they've announced that Lepic is going to get some kind of look, or maybe some kind of rework or something like that soon. I think from what I've heard, Lepic and Kyle are on the block for potentially buffing up and changing and everything like that. So there definitely is room for something. I think Nexon are aware of that, so I should be expecting that in the very short. I think they said, what was it, Season 3, every single month they were looking to like redo a new character, or redo a character in that sense, as in like bring them up to the power level and everything. So who knows? Who knows what we were really expecting? I imagine Kyle's probably first on the chopping block for that. But it would be nice if it was Lepic, because if you know, new players and everything like that, it's hard to suggest going as Lepic for like brand new people and everything like that. I mean, I know they've got the boost path and everything like that for getting on Ultimate Bunny and everything like that, but as soon as you get Ultimate Bunny, then you're just chucking Lepic away. Whereas if you go for like Viessa, Viessa can still do stuff, Ajax can still do stuff. Lepic is a little bit like hard to suggest, you know. The quality life changes that they've added kept me playing again and doubled my time. Oh, fantastic! I mean, clearly that's already speaking volumes to the community as to what they've actually kind of done. It's a bit of a shame that it's took over a year to be able to get to this point, but I suppose in the same kind of sense, you can always look back and go, you know, at least we're there, kind of thing. So they have listened to the community. You know, got to give them the dues for that. But I guess we'll see what comes down the line. I suppose we'll see what's next. I mean, everyone was asking for a lounge, right? I think I heard over someone saying that they've confirmed Lounge 2. Why? But hey ho.
Descendant, I picked up a mutant.
Do you know what? I'm just going to do Freyna for the time being. I'm going to get a little bit more footage of using these builds, because if I get the build video out this evening, fantastic. So let's do half an hour of using these builds. Let's get a little bit of footage again. We'll call it in around about half hour. That gives me time to still sort out the video and everything like that, so I can actually get that out this evening. Yeah, and then we'll take it from there. And then next stream will be on Saturday, when I've actually got a little bit more time on my hands to be able to keep doing this. So, fair enough. So Chris, awesome in first man. Thanks for showing about Lepic. Make Mel Descendants great again. Yeah, no, I mean, I get it. You know, most of the player base are going to be playing as the female Descendants, aren't they? I mean, if we're being honest with ourselves, let's be honest here. But it's fine. I think some of them are in a fairly okay spot. You know, it's not like it's going to take too much. I do like using Carl for like one shots.
Creatures has been detected in the area. Creature response confirmed. Inbound delivery. Vulgus special assault ship identified. Descendant, Vulgus comms traffic is increasing at your location. It looks like Legion of Breach troops. Vulgus special assault ship identified. Taking off the void signal. Be careful. Vulgus special assault ship spotted.
Yeah, man.
Requesting
Right,
takedown
that's you.
enemy assault ship.
Chief Interwebs, like Chris said, it's always great info that you put in your vids. Helps me understand the character better. Well, that's always been my intention, to be fair. You know, I could just put out like a short video and say, oh, this is the build, and just not explain it, but I just, you know, what got me into content creation. God, we really are lore dumping of me today, aren't we? What got me into content creation was, you know, someone explaining the build so I could understand it better and then make my own kind of like choices, you know, so I could get better at the game and everything like that. And, you know, that's the kind of content that I want to put out, and, you know, That's what I hope comes across and everything like that. And you know, it's little comments like that that just confirm it to me, that you know really makes it worthwhile and know that I'm doing the right kind of stuff and all that kind of thing. So I really do appreciate it. I mean, it really does mean a lot. Thank you.
Respond immediately.
I mean, heck, I mean, you know, I was back in the days of watching Borderlands 2 builds and, you know, Moxie with Borderlands 3 and all that kind of stuff. You know, it was you know, Jolt's Dude and Kill6 and all that kind of stuff. Like, just understanding builds, like them taking the time for me to go, this is how this behaves, this is how this works, and all that kind of thing. And it's like, it's more than just like copying a build from someone. Because anyone can copy a build.
Descendant, primary tactical objective confirmed in Operation Zone. Please take it out.
Achievement sponsor the channel. Well, thank you so much. Oh, you've actually become the first member of the channel. So, wow, thank you so much. I really do appreciate that. That does mean a lot. Just take that. Oh god. Oh, that's a plastic one. Break. Oh my god damn it. There we go. Sorry, are you going to play Borderlands 4? Absolutely. Heck, I grew up with Borderlands, so I will 100% be making some time. I've already spoke with a couple of content creators that are also going to be doing Borderlands 4, just to be able to try and arrange some kind of like co-op meetings and all that kind of thing, and you know get some get some juices flowing and all that kind of thing. Maybe even you know, might even speak to each other about like coordinating all of our builds and stuff like that. So yeah, that's yeah, it's definitely top of my list. I've tried to stay away a little bit from like all the information. Like I've known about a little bit, but I kind of want to experience it, if that makes sense. Which might be the wrong idea for a content creator to do, because I probably should be dropping in it with as much information as possible so that I'm prepared. But it's one of those that like. I don't want people to tell me everything about it. I actually just want to kind of, you know, come to grips with it, and it's kind of like a feeling for both, surely, I guess. But are people in the chat, are you also, are all of you interested in Borderlands 4 when it drops? I mean, I've got to be honest, it looks fantastic. I must admit, I was a little bit jealous after like seeing all the content creators get to play it early and everything like that. I was like, oh, I wish I was in the States and can go do stuff like that, and you know, say I'm available and all that kind of thing. But I mean, you know, not that I got invited in the first place, but that's not the point. I do hope that it's my main hopes are that it's going to be better than Wonderlands. I don't think Wonderlands was a terrible game, but I do think it is terrible in comparison to the rest of like the series and everything like that. Not interested at all, Shooters? It's not me trying to say I'm going to abandon TFD. I'm absolutely going to be covering both. But I do want to try out Borderlands 4. I've always had a soft spot in my heart for the Borderlands franchise. It's heck yeah, I'm glad to support that. It genuinely does mean a lot. It really does mean a lot that you're willing to support me and all that kind of thing. So thank you so much. Really, yeah, I can't say it enough. No, they lost me. No, they lost me on 3 story, and I do agree. 3 story was pretty pants. It wasn't great at all in any kind of. I don't think I can actually Not that I want to. I don't think I could ever defend it or anything like that. I think it was pretty bad. Especially going from the heights of number 2 to 3. But I do think that the gameplay of 3 was fantastic. Like I feel like the gunplay, I feel like the raid stuff that was at the end, that was done really, really well. Heck, I even enjoyed the DLC, to be fair. So, there's only so much you can do on this before your content. Well, funnily enough, because it is live, no, live action? Live action is definitely the wrong word. Live service, that's the one I'm looking for. Because it's live service, it means that there will always be something I can just come back to, you know. Well, that's the hope, anyway. So, yeah. I mean, heck, if Moxie can cover, you know, Path of Exile and what else does he cover? Borderlands and this and everything along those lines and all that kind of stuff, then yeah, I can do the same, right? Come on, break it off. There we go. A little bit shred. Sound. Get a little bit more of the other build, and I think we're good. Never really been a Borderlands player, Tim F? Ah, fair enough. Is it just not your... Because I know a few people are put off by like the art style and everything like that. So is it something like that, or are you just not a big fan of first-person loot shooters, or just never got into it, or... Heck, is the comedy a little bit too childish? Okay, all valid reasons, absolutely. I mean, heck, we like what we like, right? Sheep loved the gameplay in 3. Yeah, I do think it was a highlight of the series. It's just a shame that it was marred so much by... probably have to come back here, so we'll get a little bit of gameplay of this one. Yeah, it's just a shame it was marred so much by how bad the story kind of was in the end. Like, there were a couple of moments and all that kind of thing. You know, it wasn't fully terrible, but... Can't believe they did that to Maya. Absolutely Wayne. No need for that whatsoever, but, you know. Yeah, and it breaks up the content, not just ending going taking a break from boyfriend, but yeah, exactly. So, I mean, apart from like playing like a couple of games of things in the background, like not content-wise or anything like that, but you know, this has pretty much been the main game that I've played for just over a year now. So, I suppose it would be nice just to mix things up a little bit, I guess. I did tempt myself by going into going into like the Division again and stuff like that, because I never really fully understood those builds, but I always wanted to, and I did enjoy the Division for the time that I did play it. I never did it for content or anything like that, but I've just heard it's kind of gone a bit downhill, so I've just kind of avoided it, unfortunately, which is a bit of a shame. Tim F. of first-person shooters, just never go around to play. Oh, fair enough. Yeah, well, so, I mean, completely valid reason. Yeah. When you say first-person shooters, does that mean you're looking forward to Battlefield 6? Did you get to try out the beta on the weekends, or? Favorite gameplay was Krieg, just bonk. Yeah, no, of course. Yeah, as soon as you introduce a melee character, I must admit, I was a Salvador player that just kind of like cheese things with money shot and everything like that. For Borderlands 2. But I did like Axton as well.
Descending. A large cluster of breach creatures has been detected in the area. Focus special assault ship identified. Descendant, focus comms traffic is increasing at your location. It looks like Legion of Greece.
Let's reload already.
Focus special assault ship identified. Focus special assault ship spotted.
Where's the special guy?
Descendant, requesting takedown of enemy assault ship. Descendant, I picked up a mutant material formation signal in the skies nearby.
Do that. I'm guessing Shield Slug is gonna make his way in. Oh man.
Taking off void mutant signal. Be careful.
Oh. Yeah, there's the Shield Slug. Actually doing things to the shield? No, actually testing it. Oh, it's doing damage. Oh dear.
Breach follower squad approaching in an encircling formation. Respond immediately.
Alright. There we go. Like that. Okay. I'll chuck these out. I can.
Focus special assault ship spotted.
There we go. Amalek, just gonna go and walk before it's too late. Well, fair enough. Well, enjoy your walk. Hopefully, I might be gone by the time you get back in that case, but thank you also. Well, thank you for stopping by, Sheeps, and we do appreciate the membership. Thank you so much. Tim, definitely excited for Battlefield 6. Reminds me of 3 and 4 gameplay. Absolutely, I'm with you on that one.
Descendant, primary tactical objective confirmed in Operation Zone. Please take it out.
There we go. Maybe that'll be enough footage. I could probably figure this out if not. In that case, who do we just mess about with for like 10 minutes? Suppose we could do Purge for like 10 minutes. So I can get myself a few more cores, I can start working on a few more weapons, get those all sorted, bring up a stockpile. Yeah, it should be all good. So Tim, here's one for you. Are you, as I know they were talking about open weapons and closed weapons, so basically keeping like the original kind of experience. Do you have a preference? Are you against? I forgot to reload. How fast are we getting these done? 2.5 minutes. Whew. Feels a bit slow.
Stop like this.
Promise so, hello, how's it going? Thanks so much for stopping by. How is your week treating you?
Take this.
Fine, thanks for making it live. Yeah, absolutely, no problem. I thought, got a little bit of time on my hands, why not? Let's, I'll be doing a longer stream on the weekend, but I thought, you know what, I've got a few hours to kill while I'm grabbing footage and stuff like that, so I might as well make it into a live stream. How's the grind treating you then, Promise said? Is there anything you're currently in the market for at the moment? Decent ending, happy with that. Still 2.5 minutes, but I think that might be due to the level, to be honest. Pretty good. We'll do another couple, and then we might just call it there. And I can get on to work with sorting out one of my videos and everything like that. Enjoying the new webcam. I need to spend a little bit more time with that, but I'm hoping to do some really fun things with that one. But hopefully you'll be able to make out the nanoliths a little bit better in the back. Cool. Do want to take this opportunity to say thank you everyone that's currently tuned in at the moment. It means a lot that spending some of your Wednesday with me. Never goes for granted, so do appreciate that you're choosing to spend some time and you're supporting my channel. MP. Sweet. That's a bit better. That's the time I was expecting. Alright, we'll do one more, and then we'll call it for the evening, and then I can get on with the video editing and hopefully get that those Freyna builds out to you, and see how the rest of the week brings. What the rest of the week brings. Jesus, you can tell I'm ready for bed already. That and my juice is out, so mouth start to clam up. Slow me down though. Don't want that. Come on. There we go. great stuff. We'll move to Albion, and we'll call it there. Right, yeah. Well, thank you so much for spending some time with me on this Wednesday evening, or wherever it is around the world that you may be. But yeah, thank you all so much for stopping by. It really does mean a lot to me. Next stream, I'm currently planning for Saturday. Be like an early morning start, UK time anyway. So probably looking like about, I don't know, 10, half 10 probably start. I should be live by 11 at the very least anyway. But 10, half 10 is probably going to be the start. I'll be live for probably, once again, about 4 to 5 hours maybe, most of the day. So yeah, so feel free to get your questions ready. Feel free to ask me what kind of build you want to be able to see, just be able to compete in Axion. We'll figure some stuff out on stream and everything like that. More than happy for that, but yeah, that'll be the main bulk of that. And yeah, we'll get some wall hangers and maybe even some wall crashes and all that kind of stuff going on as well. So should be fun, should be good. Last one was pretty good success and all that kind of thing on the Sunday. So yeah, I'm hoping to replicate that on the Saturday as well. So that's the current plan. So in that case, potentially we'll see you Saturday. Have a good and great rest of your weeks. Look out for the build video that should hopefully be up in a couple of hours' time. And fingers crossed I get to see you on Saturday. So, right, have yourselves a great evening. Catch you around. As I always say, keep yourself safe, keep yourselves well, and I'll see you all on the next video.